Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're embarking on a journey into really one of the most remarkable minds you could imagine.
Yeah.
We are diving deep into the world of Daniel Tammet. He's a man who, well, he gave us so much more than just a display of incredible memory.
Absolutely.
Our mission here is to try and understand the meaning behind the numbers, you know? To see how one life can sort of redefine what we think human potential even is.
Yeah.
And look, we have to kick off with the moment that just catapulted him into the global spotlight.
Right. It's a big one.
You really have to picture this. It's 2004. Tammet decides he's going to recite pi. Not just a few digits, but, well, he stood there for over 5 hours.
5 hours. Wow.
And the sources describe it so vividly, his voice steady, like unleashing an endless river of numbers as if each flowed from the depths of eternity. Just poetic.
It really is.
And he finished flawlessly reciting, get this, 22,514 decimal places, all from memory.
It's an absolute extraordinary feat. I mean, one of the most staggering examples of human memory ever recorded. But, you know, what's really fascinating here, and maybe a bit misleading, is that if we just focus on the spectacle, on that number, 22,514, we kind of miss the whole point.
Okay.
This deep dive is really about asking, was that just, you know, a rare display of cognitive power, like a human computer? Or was it something deeper, a revelation of a unique identity?
Right.
And I think the real power in Tammet's story is understanding how his internal world, his way of seeing things, made that feat almost, well, not just a performance, but maybe an inevitability for him.
That's a great way to put it. The number's the hook, definitely, but the person is the lesson.
Exactly.
So, okay, let's move past just the calculation. We're going to explore his early life, the struggles, the incredible hidden architecture of his mind, how the world reacted when he sort of opened up, and ultimately what he offers all of us about, you know, the power of being unique.
Sounds like a plan.
So, Daniel Tammet, born in London, 1979, working class background, but his early years, they were tough, marked by this overwhelming difficulty. You picture this kid who was intensely quiet, really withdrawn, found it incredibly hard to make eye contact,
Right.
and was often just completely paralyzed by the noise, the chaos of everyday social stuff.
And on top of that,
On top of that, he started having epileptic seizures early on, which, you know, just added layers of trauma and fear for him and his family.
and that context is so crucial. He was diagnosed later, high-functioning autism and savant syndrome. But think about what it felt like to live that way.
Yeah.
The source material, it really paints a vivid picture of sensory processing issues. It wasn't just being sensitive. The world literally felt like an attack on his senses.
An attack, that sounds debilitating.
It was. I mean, imagine being trapped, as one description put it, in a body where the everyday world attacks your senses like an orchestra playing horribly out of tune. Just going to the grocery store could be agony, right?
Yeah.
Sounds, the lights. So structure, routine, those weren't just preferences, they were survival tools.
And this is where that paradox really hits you. He's struggling so intensely with basic communication, with the sensory overload. The outside world is just noise, confusion.
Right.
But inside that same mind, there's this incredible capacity for order, for vast, almost beautiful calculation.
Exactly. And his adolescence was really defined by that split, that internal conflict.
Yeah.
Deep isolation, always trying to figure out the arbitrary, confusing rules of how people interact.
Yeah.
While in the quiet sanctuary of his own mind, he found this immediate, verifiable truth in numbers, calculating prime numbers, huge sums. That wasn't a chore for him.
It was comfort.
It was comfort, it was order. A way to impose structure when the world outside just felt chaotic. You know,
Yeah.
the seeds of that pi performance were probably sown right there.
Yeah.
That need for internal peace.
Okay, so let's dive into the how. The mechanism that led him turn that conflict into something like genius. Synesthesia.
Yes, this is key.
Because for Tammet, numbers weren't just cold symbols on a page, were they?
Not at all. He described them as living things. Each one had its own shape, its own color, texture, even an emotional feel to it. They were like companions, landscapes.
And the examples are fascinating. Like the number 9, he didn't see it, he felt it as majestic, enormous, almost like a towering mountain.
Right, and then something like 89 is experienced like falling snow.
Falling snow. Okay, but hang on. How does seeing numbers as mountains or snow actually help you memorize, 22,000 digits? That's the bit I'm trying to connect.
Yeah, that's the crucial step. It's about transforming abstract data into a rich, multisensory narrative.
Oh, okay.
See, for most of us, memorizing a long string of numbers is pure rote work. It hits a very specific, limited part of our working memory, and it gets overloaded fast.
Right. Boring repetition.
Exactly. But for Tammet, his synesthesia acts like this massive, incredibly efficient filing system. Or maybe like a mnemonic palace, but built in.
So it's like organizing the chaos
But-
automatically.
Precisely. He wasn't seeing a random string of digits. 3.14159. He was seeing a shifting landscape, a visual, tactile, even emotional journey. He chunks the data based on these colors, shapes, patterns.
Ah, so spatial and visual cues.
Exactly, which are far more memorable, far more sticky for the brain than just abstract numbers alone. That pi recital wasn't him reading off a list in his head.
It was like he was describing a walk.
Pretty much, a
Yes.
walk through this familiar, vivid internal landscape, describing the colors and shapes as they flowed one into the next. It wasn't brute force memory. It was, well, superior cognitive organization.
That completely reframes it. It makes the pi feat less about being a human calculator and more like being an artist who paints with numbers.
Yeah, I like that. And this hidden ability, this internal world, that's what suddenly burst onto the global stage in 2004.
Right. That performance instantly shifted him from this sort of private mystery to a global phenomenon. Scientists wanted to study him, the world was just amazed, and immediately they slapped that label on him, the savant.
Which he pushed back against. Hard.
Yeah, he resisted that label fiercely, didn't he? That must have been a huge challenge, right after achieving this incredible fame, suddenly being reduced to just one thing.
Oh, absolutely. The risk was massive. Being stuck forever as the mathematical curiosity, the sideshow act. But Tammet, he insisted on something deeper. He said very clearly that his story was, and I'm quoting loosely here, not about numbers alone, it's about being human.
Okay, but here's a question then. If he's trying so hard to shift the focus to his humanity, the need for connection, why do the big number feats at all?
That's fair.
Doesn't using his unique brain for things like the pi recital just reinforce the very savant stereotype he says he wants to reject?
It's a really sharp point, and honestly, it's the core tension you see throughout his public life.
Right.
But I think the way to look at it is, he wasn't performing for the label. He was performing to get a platform. The numbers were his undeniable proof of difference, right?
Yeah.
Nobody could argue with 22,514 digits.
True. It gets attention.
Exactly. He used that undeniable difference as the sort of entry ticket, the way to get people listening, so he could then talk about the things that really mattered to him. The struggle, autism, the deep longing for connection. The spectacle was the tool, but connection was the goal.
Okay, that makes sense. Using the extraordinary to talk about the universal.
Precisely.
And that desire for connection, it led him to maybe his most inspiring pivot: language. If pi was about his internal world, learning languages was about building bridges outwards.
Yes, a deliberate shift.
And we see this so clearly with that incredible Icelandic example.
Oh yeah, that's amazing.
Icelandic, I mean, it's known for being incredibly complex.
Notoriously difficult, yeah.
And yet Tammet learned it well enough in a single week
That week.
to go live on Icelandic national TV and have a conversation. Fluent conversation.
It's mind-boggling. But again, it wasn't just about the speed, impressive as that is.
Yeah.
The sources really emphasize why he did it. It wasn't calculation driving him this time. It was, and this is the word they use, longing.
Longing for connection, for belonging, for mutual understanding. It was an emotional goal, a social one. It proved his unique cognitive gifts could be channeled entirely into empathy, into communication, not just abstract feats.
That feels like a fundamentally different kind of mental effort than memorizing pi, doesn't it?
Totally different.
Pi is static. It's infinite, sure, but it doesn't change. Language is messy. It's fluid. It's contextual. It's deeply human.
Exactly.
So to absorb not just words, but the rhythm, the grammar, the feel of a language in 7 days, it just underscores that commitment to reaching out.
And that reaching out, it really culminated in his writing, didn't it? His memoir, Born on a Blue Day. That might have been his most profound act of vulnerability.
Think about that contrast again. The young Daniel, overwhelmed by noise, unable to meet someone's gaze, finds the courage, years later, to essentially open his soul to strangers, as one source put it in a book read all over the world.
Yeah.
He laid bare all the parts he'd probably spent his life trying to manage or hide: the fears, the social awkwardness, the seizures. And the book itself became the ultimate answer to that human calculator label. You know?
How so?
It revealed the internal cost of his gifts. It showed the struggle, the person behind the numbers. It shifted him from being just this object of mathematical fascination
Right.
to a deeply relatable human being.
Now, we should acknowledge the sources do mention pushback, right? There were critics.
Critics always are.
People questioning if his condition was truly unique, or arguing the media hype overshadowed the man. Debates about whether synesthesia was like an unfair advantage for memory tricks.
Right, the skeptic angle.
Yeah.
And what Tammet's whole experience seems to show us is that, well, those debates kind of missed the point.
Yeah.
He wasn't really interested in satisfying every skeptic or scientifically proving the exact category his brain fits into. His real stance, the inspiring one, was that the value of his story was in its power to connect with and inspire others who felt different.
So the proof wasn't in convincing scientists.
No, it was in the connection it forged with readers, with people who saw themselves in his struggle. That was the real validation for him, it seems.
So, okay, let's pull this all together. If we synthesize this whole deep dive, what's the big universal lesson that Daniel Tammet's life offers us?
I think it comes back to that paradox of difference we talked about.
Okay.
He is extraordinary, yes, but precisely because he learned to embrace the very things that made him fundamentally different, even though those differences caused him so much pain and isolation early on.
So the central question his life kind of throws back at us is, what if our weaknesses, the things we try to hide or fix about ourselves, what if they actually contain our greatest, most unique strengths?
That's it. That is the absolute crucial insight for you, the listener.
Sure.
For anyone listening who has ever felt out of step, misunderstood, like you just don't operate in the same frequency as the normal world.
Yeah.
Tammet's life is this incredibly powerful validation. It says, you are not broken. You are not less. Your genius, your potential, it isn't measured by how well you fit in or by standard scores.
It's measured by.
It lies in the courage to actually map out, understand, and then communicate the unique landscape of your own mind.
The world doesn't need more perfection, more conformity.
Mhm.
It needs authentic structures, your structures.
Exactly. It needs the different ways people process reality, the different stories you can build from the same set of facts or data.
That's powerful.
Think about it. The world is drowning in abstract information, data, facts, names, theories. Tammet's gift, maybe his greatest one, was translating that cold abstraction into a rich, personal, visualized narrative. His legacy ultimately isn't really about math, it's about meaning.
Meaning, not mathematics. I like that.
Yeah, and it teaches us to stop being afraid of our differences and start seeing them as potential keys. Keys to unique ways of thinking, unique ways of contributing.
So that's the ultimate takeaway then. Nurture what sets you apart. Explore it.
Absolutely. So maybe the next time you feel out of place, you feel overwhelmed by the noise and pressure of standard expectations. Just remember Daniel Tammet. Remember him standing there, using his own unique internal map to navigate something as vast as pi. And ask yourself, what hidden patterns, what unique connections is my mind constantly making that maybe I haven't dared to really look at or embrace yet? What unique way of organizing the world lies inside me, waiting to be uncovered, waiting to be shared? Find that structure, trust that pattern, and that could be your guide into a completely uncharted but genuinely authentic world for you.